Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Oh wait, it was Drake and Josh. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Drake and Josh are two completely iconic shows. Everybody loved both of them, and while some liked more than others, it was hard to deny how good they both were. But we'll dive into that in a minute. I want to talk about this ongoing feud of which show is better, The Sweet Life or Drake and Josh, and how similar are they really? On the surface, I thought that they were really similar, down to the personality, down to the plot lines, but upon doing some more research, I realized that these are almost completely opposite shows. They take the same concepts and the same characters, but do it completely separately. And I'm sure you guys have thought about this before, but you know what? I want to break it down in an organized way. So let's get into everything that makes Drake and Josh and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody completely unique. What's up, everybody? It's Johnny 2000 coming at you with 2000s media from TV, movies, video games, and so much more. Okay, before we compare these legendary duos, let's talk about how their shows kind of came to be. Drake and Josh came out in 2004 from Nickelodeon, coming from the mind of Dan Schneider, who already built a reputation for the hit teen sitcoms like All That and The Amanda Show. It was kind of a spin-off of sorts, taking two standout actors, Drake Bell and Josh Peck, created a new series around their chemistry. It was already known for its wacky, over-the-top humor, and Drake and Josh kind of fit right into the mold, focusing on slapstick comedy, exaggerated reactions, and unpredictable situations. Now, if we're talking about actual airing, which we're not, Drake and Josh premiered on Nickelodeon January 11th, so it's a Capricorn. Meanwhile, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody debuted later on Disney Channel, March 18th, 2005. Nickelodeon had already established itself as this dominant force in live-action sitcoms. Disney was expanding on its own original sitcom lineup, already having Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens. Sweet Life was just like a new air, like a luxurious hotel that leaned into Disney's mixture of wholesome, family-friendly humor and situational comedy. Unlike Drake and Josh, which was more about stepbrothers adjusting into this new family, Sweet Life kind of focused on the twin brothers navigating the world of high society and constantly testing the patience of the adults around them, which is a major difference. One key difference between the two duos is the age range in which they played their roles. When Drake and Josh started in 2004, Drake Bell was 17 and Josh was also 17. But by the time the show ended in 2007, they were both 20. They both played teenage stepbrothers, but their age difference allowed them to mature on the show, making later seasons feel more like a transition into young adulthood. Meanwhile, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody started in 2005 at just 12 years old, and the show ended in 2008, ending them at 15 when it wrapped. They continued their characters into The Sweet Life on deck, but that's still not the show we're counting. This means that Zack and Cody's characters felt more youthful and mischievous compared to Drake and Josh, who were navigating more teen to young adult issues by the end of their show. And Zack and Cody were just barely hitting high school. Zack and Drake are pretty similar in that they both love adventure, taking risks, and rely on their charm to get out of trouble. They're natural troublemakers and like to bend the rules. But there is a key difference. I think Zack is mischievous and thrives on pranks, but Drake is focused on having fun and focusing on his music career, and he's just kind of more ignorant than anything. Zack is a troublemaker because he enjoys it, and Drake is more carefree and doesn't necessarily seek out trouble, letting things come to him. Meanwhile, Cody and Josh might both be the smart ones in their duos, but they go about it in like completely different ways. Like Cody is calm, logical, and methodical. He enjoys learning and is usually pretty level-headed. Josh, on the other hand, is more expressive. He also tends to let his emotions take the wheel. He could be like loud. He has like a bit of a wacky side more than Cody ever could. And Cody is naturally intelligent and curious, but Josh has to work extra hard to prove himself. Nobody really understands Josh's worth. He usually gets the short end of the stick, and I don't see people treating Cody as terribly as people treat Josh when we compare the two. I feel like that's also the difference with the network. Teen Nick is very cynical and likes to poke fun at people's personality traits. They focus on a lot more of the rebellious nature of these teen sitcoms, while The Sweet Life is focusing more on the camaraderie of the characters and kind of having them get through things. Like, you'll never see a Sweet Life of Zack and Cody episode end on them in an argument or something not being resolved, or such as a Teen Nick show would be, you know? Unlike the structured environment of the Tipton Hotel, Drake and Josh's world is kind of more unpredictable, and despite that they had the premiere and all of their central locations, theirs were more spontaneous and absurd in a less grounded way. Another key difference is the supporting character that shaped the duos. Like, in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, they are surrounded by a structured yet wacky hotel staff. Mr. Mosby acted as a strict but caring mentor, and London Tipton has this spoiled heiress with comedic contrast. Their world was controlled entirely by the twins, constantly pushing them beyond the limits of authority. Meanwhile, Drake and Josh, the stepbrothers, had to deal with Megan, their devious younger sister that served more as an antagonist, as opposed to just specifically like Mr. Mosby, for example. Something that makes them really different is their female leads. Like, for example, Drake and Josh have Megan, which is the cynical prank master, like she just wants to see the worst for Drake and Josh. While The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody have Maddie in London. Maddie is super caring and understanding, and London is shallow and selfish, which definitely make the shows very unique to what they're about. Like, Drake and Josh is more of like a family show, and you could see The Sweet Life leaning into more of a workplace comedy that Zack and Cody happen to live in. Another big difference between these shows is how the adults played a role in the main characters' lives. In Drake and Josh, we have Walter and Audrey, who are two married parents navigating their blended family. Walter's the quirky and clueless weatherman, often the butt of the jokes, and Audrey is the more level-headed parent who tried and failed to keep things in order. Their dynamic as a married couple added an extra layer to the show, showing the struggles of raising two completely different stepbrothers under one roof. In The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, things were definitely different. The twins were raised by a single mother, Carrie, who worked as a lounge singer at the Tipton Hotel, and unlike Walter and Audrey, who had each other to lean on, Carrie has to juggle parenting and managing her career. This often made her the more grounded and responsible figure compared to the goofy antics of the step-parents in Drake and Josh. And Mr. Mosby can easily be compared as the fatherly mentor that gets very frustrated as Walter would be, but Mr. Mosby is frustrated and level-headed. And Carrie was a lot more responsible and able to balance Zack and Cody's wild energy as herself, as opposed to the duo of Walter and Audrey, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Romantic relationships were also a major part of both shows, but they were handled very differently. Drake was a ladies' man, constantly dating girls throughout the series. His confidence, charm, made him popular, and his relationships were often short-lived and comedic, never having a long-term girlfriend. Josh, on the other hand, had a more meaningful arc with Mindy, his competitive and intelligent girlfriend. Their relationship developed over time, showing growth and emotional depth that contrasted Drake's carefree style. Sweet Life definitely played out differently due to the characters' younger ages. So Zack had this ongoing crush on one of the other main characters, which was a completely different dynamic, the candy counter girl, obviously, and his attempts to win her over were a reoccurring comedic element. Cody, meanwhile, had more stable romantic storylines with Bailey and The Sweet Life on deck, and while his relationships were more serious and heartfelt, definitely very similar to Drake and Josh's. Like, how could you be in such vastly different ages and have such similar dating experiences? I'm just so curious. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, the thing that we all think about but never talk about, the success of the movies. So let's talk about Drake and Josh, specifically Go Hollywood, because I know they had a lot of TV movies. They had Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, but let's count Drake and Josh Go Hollywood and the Sweet Life movie. So both duos took their adventures beyond the TV screen into their own movies, and while Drake and Josh did it a lot more frequently than the Sweet Life did, it's really interesting how they compared. Like, Drake and Josh Go Hollywood saw the brothers accidentally sending Megan on a flight to LA, leading to a wild, action-packed adventure involving mistaken identities and an international crime ring. The film expanded on the show's humor and high-energy chaos, taking away the laugh track and making it feel like a really good feature film event. Meanwhile, the Sweet Life movie took a different approach. Zack and Cody were a part of some futuristic scientific experiment that linked to their minds, leading into intense twin telepathy and secret agent-like mission. Unlike the Drake and Josh movie that stayed grounded in comedy and real-world antics, The Sweet Life embraced a more sci-fi and adventurous theme, pushing the twins into an unfamiliar and dramatic storyline. And trust me, if we had to put them together, I definitely think the Sweet Life movie stunk. And whether or not I thought the Drake and Josh movies were good, it's just the Sweet Life movie stunk. And that's all I have to really say on the subject. Overall, these shows are so much more different than I gave it credit for. From the surrounding characters, the movies, to the even the age difference, I never realized the uniqueness that separates these two shows. I sometimes wonder myself which one is necessarily funnier, and I even have trouble doing that, because they're in such vastly different categories, it's almost like harder to compare them. But now that we did, I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Did your opinion change? Did you think Drake and Josh was the best show? Did you think Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was actually better? And I want to know all your thoughts down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so happy with all the progress my channel has made in the past couple weeks, and I'm hopeful that you guys will stick with me on my journey through the 2000s. Until next time, this is Johnny 2000 focusing on the 2000s TV, media, video games, and so much more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.